Hello. Today's episode number 75 of the Professor Slots podcast discusses the golden age of slots. Spoiler alert, it's not right now. Plus, in this episode, I'll be covering the current state of slot machine casino gambling in the great U.S. states of Idaho and Illinois. Thank you for joining me for the Professor Slots podcast show. I'm John Friedel, and this is a podcast about slot machine casino gambling. It is where I provide knowledge, insights, and tools for helping you improve your slot machine gambling performance. In case you missed it, on my last episode, I went over secrets for winning at slot machines in Las Vegas. Further, I reviewed Guam and Hawaii slot machine casino gambling in 2019. I hope you enjoyed listening to my last episode as much as I enjoyed making it for you. Remember to visit professorslots.com/subscribe to get my free report revealing the top 7 online resources for improving your gambling performance, including the one I've used as a top-tier slot machine casino gambler. Here's the audio recording of my latest live Q&A session. Hello, everybody. Welcome. And want to give a special shout out to the people listening on the podcast at a later time. You are at the live Q&A session on Saturday, January 25th. And today we'll be talking a little bit about the history of slot machines and why it matters. The reason that I wanted to talk about this was actually I wanted to talk about it last week, but last week we had some urgent questions from our audience and wanted to address those then because it seemed like the best time to do that. But a week ago Saturday was the second day, well, a week ago Friday, 1 week ago Friday, was the beginning of American Prohibition 100 years ago. 100 years ago, a week ago Friday, was the beginning of Prohibition. Why does this matter? This matters because it is also known that 12 years, 1920 to 1932, is for slots enthusiasts, is known as the golden age of slots. That's when slots exploded around the world, that they became popular. There was a few years before that. So I want to go into some of the history because it's commemorating the 100-year anniversary of the golden age of slots, also known as American Prohibition. So let's go ahead and get started. Welcome, everybody. I don't know where you are, but it's kind of a rainy, snowy day here in Ohio. Let's kind of get into a few things. I want to talk about the history of slot machines because, well, maybe you don't know. I did indeed, a week ago on Sunday after our last live, the day after my last live session, I did indeed go to the casino and I, kind of studied the machines for you. I'm still working on an article. I got to turn those articles out faster, but I, noticed some new technologies and I was thinking over some emails that I'd gotten, people I was discussing some things with, that they were seeing at the casinos and, things are continuing to advance with slot machine technology. And I'll go through the history and we'll come to that. But, there's some things that are popular. I have a couple articles on these things. They're in the notes, in the description on the YouTube channel. If you'd care to take a look at those. Hello, Denise. Hello, Max. The sun just came out in Southern California. Does it ever hide? I've been to Southern California a couple of times, and the last time it rained heavily, and the shop that I was at called me over to the big door, and they're like, "Look," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's been raining for like 3 weeks in Ohio." They're like, "No, this never happens. It's a rare event." I'm like, okay, all right. Sunny Southern California. Glad the sun is out. Okay, so I do have a few articles that are in the description, and keep an eye on chat here. Yeah, okay. And let's see. Slots were invented about 145 years ago. There were some machines before that, but what makes a slot machine a slot machine? Because before that, there were some machines, but they weren't slot machines. So a slot machine is well, trying to make it straightforward here. It has a slot. Not only does it accept coins, well, the bare minimum is that it accepts coins. There was plenty of poker machines before that which didn't accept coins. And then you might say, well, there's also the whole dispenses coins, but I don't know that necessarily applies. Certainly that was an interesting technical development, but we don't have coins now, and they're slot machines. So that is not essential. That was just one the second step. No, that's not what I want. I want to move that over there. So I have this book, which was originally published. Make sure you can see this. Originally published in 1983. And it's been in four printings. And the author here, the fifth edition, is 97, so it came out 23 years ago. So it's a used book. You can find it on Amazon. Slot Machines, a Pictorial Guide of the First 100 Years, fifth edition, Marshall Fay. He's the grandson of Charles Fay, who is known as the father of slot machines. He invented something called the Liberty Bell. And, let's see, it might be, so it really is, it talks about the history. There's a few things here, and there's, other sources that I used, for my articles. Where's a good early slot machine? This is a modern picture in a museum of one of the early slot machines. It's from 1900. And that slot machine has a wheel on it. Interestingly enough, it is not the first slot machine. The first slot machine was basically this one over on the other side. So I'll show you that. Okay. So the Liberty Bell was created by Charles Fay. It was coin operated, had a arm on the side, right? So a one-arm bandit is where that term came from for the arm on the side. And it also has a dispenser for coins. At the bottom. And this Liberty Bell, was invented by Charles Fay in San Francisco in 1907, I think it was. There's some discrepancies about exactly when was it invented. So let's see. Sort of just a little bit of description here. It was invented in 1887. All right. So for the one that I showed you, the Liberty Bell was 1887, but the one with the wheel on it was 1900, which was 13 years later. So a lot of development was going on. Some of the earlier machines just before that weren't invented by Charles Fay, but Charles Fay is known as the the father of slots for two reasons. The first is because he invented the coin operation part of accepting and dispensing coins. That technical feature. He was a mechanic in San Francisco, and he's known as the father of slots because he promoted it. So whether people had the sale, but had a device, and stories about stealing the design and stealing the machine to reverse engineering. It's all kind of fascinating, if not very well documented from that time. But he went ahead and invented this, and he promoted it. He went everywhere and got people to buy them. Now unfortunately, there are very few Liberty Bells remaining, because it wasn't until 1913 that the great earthquake of San Francisco, for those of you in Southern California might know about that, and the fires afterwards destroyed something like 3,000 of them. No, he'd only made 3,000 of them, and there was only like a handful left afterwards, after that natural disaster. So Charles Fay was a relevant figure in that. The one-armed bandit, the coin operation, the Liberty Bell. Some slot machines have a Liberty Bell these days. That's one of the original features. But there's also, the response from society. There's people who just were like, wow, it's better than it filled in a place for poker. The previous machines were kind of like poker games, and they really like this whole slot machine thing. And I think that's important because I believe we do too, right? So they found, it was found to be popular. However, there was an element of society that was going after alcohol. And, trying to reduce its use and, production and sale. And that, group of people also latched onto, social mores changed. And there became a fight towards limiting gambling. Now, this was, not to give too much of a spoiler alert, governments weren't really behind casinos like they are today, because no one had quite understood the ramifications to having income taxes from gambling revenue, which of course is huge. And governments hadn't quite figured that one out, hadn't realized it could be taxed, and hadn't set things up, and didn't realize the sheer amount of money that they would be making by supporting gambling. But people were against it, and similar people to alcohol. And so they forced laws, lobbied to have laws put in place, and the governments did so. And the slot machine manufacturers responded. And it is starting to sound like taking advantage of casino business practices and, some of the stuff that we talk about now. In any case, they got rid of the kind of the winning money part of slot machines. And you may have been a while since you've heard this statement, but slot machines are vending machines, right? There's a connection there. There's a kind of a remembrance of that term. Why is that? Because that's what they did. The slot machine manufacturers said, okay, if you've got a problem with us, you winning money, you winning cigars, you winning a drink at the bar, you winning, something from the dispensing coins, fine. We'll dispense something else. We'll dispense gum. So these are still called, and gum is fruit flavored. So these are often still called fruit machines in other parts of the world, Great Britain in particular, and a one-armed bandit, I believe pokey machines, in Australia. And these terms come from those early days. So if you ever travel internationally and play slots, you might hear some of these terms, and this is where it's all from. So those of you who might have missed it, I'll hold this up again. Charles Fay. It's a bunch of photos of old time slot machines, and up till the modern age, around 1970 or so. And I'll tell you an interesting story about that later. But so you get these early machines, and they had gum, and this was from about 1887 was when it was invented. By 1900, it was kind of all over the place. Because of promotion, but not really all over the place yet, but they were becoming more and more available in bars and other places around the country. And then, bowling alleys, places like that, parlors. Then it was, social mores changed and it became more prohibited. So the slot manufacturers, wanted to be successful. So they switched it over to dispensing gum. Fruit flavored gum. And so you get things like, tell me when you've heard this one, cherries. There's also other ones like plums and watermelon that we don't see as much today. And these fruit symbols are traditional slot machines. Also, the logo, for one of these manufacturers was kind of like the, Wrigley Spearmint gum, right? It's kind of like a long, what's the word I'm looking for here? Bar, was the logo of one of the slot machine manufacturers, and they included a bar, stylized version of their logo, in the reels. And that's why we have bars, in slot machines. 1, 2, 3. Let me check quickly to see how the how the chat's going. Hi, Carrie. Max. You had foggy morning. Okay. Interesting. Hi. Max, I want to go to casino, but given the fact that it's Chinese New Year, not sure this would be a good day. I think it would be better, just to answer a few quick questions here. It's a special event. But does the casino recognize it as a special event? Then treat it like a special event, where I'd go like the next morning. Thanks, Max. I like the book. It's been useful. Catherine. Hi, Catherine. Carrie, we are going to the casino at 4 a.m. Sunday morning after the celebration. Hey, Carrie's been reading my stuff, maybe. I would check to see if the casino is actually doing anything on Chinese New Year. I mean, if they're ignoring it, I would hope that they wouldn't. But if they were ignoring it, that's the reason you're going, is because the previous day is a big day. Check the website, see if they've got something special going on. It might be a good time no matter what, but one of the things I've found is a lot of casinos will have it as a good time after a special event, or a holiday, and this being a holiday. So, now you could go to any holiday after the morning after any holiday and see, maybe not, some minor holiday. But if any major holiday, and this is a major holiday for many people, that's what's necessary. You could go out after any one of those. And if the casino does have a winning payout for you, then that casino does that. Now, if you haven't done that before with that particular casino, then you don't know if that casino does that. There's a good chance. What do I think about, wow, I don't even know how to address that question. Coronavirus. There's an article on CNN about about are you safe? I'd suggest looking that up. I'm not a medical professional. Okay, you guys talk amongst yourselves, okay? Yeah, Max, I would not be surprised if all Southern California casinos had big celebrations. I would certainly hope so, but that's what you're looking for to take advantage of. But getting back a little bit to the history here, let's see, what's another good point to make here? Keep an eye on those. Yeah. A friend of mine actually called me up and asked me if I was concerned about coronavirus because of all the traveling that I had done. So I researched it, and do whatever you do if it's flu season. Hand sanitizer, don't touch your face, don't touch your eyes. Okay. And that's during the worst of flu season. It's basically a type of flu. A mild type of flu, actually, according to what I read on CNN. Okay, moving forward, there's a couple of museums around. There's a Cypress Casino Consultant, a Casino Observer, and an International Arcade Museum. I believe all those are in Nevada and Las Vegas, pretty sure. So the immediate improvements to slot machines, because I wanted to zoom this forward in a moment, but the immediate improvements to slot machines were the Liberty Bell was cast iron. So they replaced it with a wooden cabinet. Before, if you won a jackpot, then the machine had to be reset. It's funny how we came back to that, for hand payouts, but, it had to mechanically be set. So you couldn't do back-to-back jackpots. So that was a change. There was, it's funny how right from the beginning, right? People were using fake coins. People were trying to, use illegal methods to win at slot machines. And one thing was to use slugs, fake coins. And so the technology for the coin acceptor was developed further shortly after it came out to limit. It didn't make it zero. It had to be like a really good fake coin. But that reduced fraud. Then 1909, right? It was a few years. But 1909, laws began to be introduced prohibiting slot machines from dispensing cash. So they switched over to non-cash payouts, fruit-flavored gum. Prohibition, 1920, 1933. American Prohibition is the golden age of slots, because once the speakeasies opened to offer alcohol, the slot manufacturers went back to offering cash prizes and not gum, in these speakeasies. I don't know why we wouldn't just call these speakeasies not speakeasies, but casinos, right? So, I wonder if they had card games too. I don't really know. But they did have slot machines, and it just, boom, all of them started getting more and more of them because that was part of what a speakeasy had. That caused the slot machine manufacturing to go huge. And then it became very large in Europe as well. Hopefully we'll have another age of slots, golden age of slots someday. But that was when it really just was here to stay. So in 1931, I'm not going to go through this step by step. I have articles out there, but I think this is an interesting transition. Nevada legalized gaming in 1931. So this was, even before American Prohibition ended in 1932, the year before. So, we emerged from American Prohibition and Nevada legalized gambling. And, one of the first slot machines went into the Flamingo in the 1940s. So, it had some problems with, being cheated. So they had to really increase all that. So then you have World War II, and that was when governments got a clue and realized how much gaming revenue, that casinos were making. And by golly, why don't they just tax that? And then other states who wanted, taxes to increase so they can fund government activities started thinking seriously about allowing gambling. And so they can get the, tax revenue. And so that happened. And then it spread to Europe. And then you've got, a slot machine a pinball machine manufacturer, that you may have heard of called Bally's. And you've probably heard of the casino Bally's. So that was actually the powerhouse. 90% of the slot machines came from here. The former, pinball manufacturer is still a pinball manufacturer at the time, but they started making slot machines, and it was the only game in town. It was 90% of slot machines came from Bally's for 3-4 decades. And they took the mechanical device and made it electromechanical. They put speakers on it. They made multiple pay lines. They made multiple denominations. All these huge developments. They also had they patented the random number generator, once they went electronic. And, that's all part of the history. So one of the things, and who can forget having a microchip? Okay. This is when you start getting into video slot machines, because now you have a microchip. Then you get a little bit after that, 1990s, you get Wi-Fi and internet. So now you've got ways to connect progressive slot machines and, remotely control, devices. They couldn't do that because it wasn't fast. They couldn't, run 3,000 slot machines from a central computer because the central computer was, 356 Pentium, and you remember it wasn't capable of handling that, routing that much contact. Maybe a Cray supercomputer would, but it's millions of dollars, and they weren't going to pay for that, and it was all too experimental. So it wasn't until another 2012 that sort of thing happened, where you would have a central computer. So and I'm going to kind of stay away from this topic because I want to get back to the questions. But what happened after microcomputers and and development of the internet to the point of being able to actually share enough information? Well, online slots by offshore companies, illegal offshore companies, and the governments, states, gaming jurisdictions, countries didn't have any protection, and neither did the players. And so that was a time when the casinos were very concerned. Land-based casinos, riverboats and all that became very concerned that online slots would take all their business, because people wouldn't have to travel from their home. So, the governments put together some laws, that would protect players, protect slot machine manufacturers, and that crisis sort of passed. And we're seeing, of course, online slots coming out, a lot of late. And, but when they first came out, that was something. All right. So that's kind of the technology development. There's more to all this. If you look in the, description for this show, you'll see some links to my articles about, fruit machines, where the bar comes from, and also my ultimate guide to slots history. One of the things I mentioned a few minutes ago was, again, this book. And the reason why, what I was going to mention before was I've had a few of you contact me and say, I inherited an antique slot machine, but I know nothing about it. And both times I found it in that book. And I was able to give them a date. I gave them the references, for the book, where to contact next. One gentleman, was a favorite toy. It was a favorite device of his father who had passed recently, and he was trying to evaluate it as a family heirloom. And another group, and that was quite an old one. Then there was another group, a husband and wife who contacted me and asked about it. And it was actually in the 1970s, some people, started making slot machines that looked like the ones from 1909 deliberately. They were just, reminiscent of that time, and, had some pieces kind of put together that sort of looked like it, only it had, 1970 materials. So that was the second one. And so I'm glad to have helped out a few, individuals who enjoy that sort of thing. Antiques. Max, I think I'll pick up where I left off with that. Yep, I answered Carrie's question, I think. Max, my grandmother had two old slot machines that I played as a kid, nickel and quarter machines. Yes, plums, lemons, cherries, other fruit. Yeah, it's the old kind of plums. It's really hard to get them at the grocery stores. It's the kind of plums my grandfather used to make, kind of long, narrow, instead of the big genetically enhanced, plums. Let's see. Catherine, I'd be at Wenhover on Wednesday after Super Bowl. Not close enough. Charter, so I have no choice of days. Wednesday after Super Bowl. Maybe early in the morning. Other things to watch for. Again, does the casino have a big event for Super Bowl? They recognize it, but do they actually have people come in? That's the question. If they've got something where, they send out promotions. I don't know how you'd know this, but if they sent out promotions, then they're drawing people in, and that's a trigger for it being a special event. If they're choosing to wear colors, sports teams, but they haven't really made it a special event. It's got to be special. All right. Capital S, capital E, special events. And you need to decide whether or not they celebrate it, because what's happened, we're taking advantage. So just to be clear for those who are kind of new, I can't make you luckier, but what I can do is explain the business practices of casinos, several of them, 8 of them, 7, 8 of them, which I've figured out where now that these casinos, many casinos have a way to control their daily performance metrics with a central server, and not that it necessarily needs that. There's ways to look at the traffic flow and the choices of the business and take advantage. Like one of the most straightforward ones is the taste. Right? A casino can set up their slot machines so that it gives out a win in the first few bets. First 5, first 10, depends. And first 15 minutes. My trip to the casino on, Sunday, that I told you guys I was going to make went great. My goodness. And, but it definitely stopped. And I think it was on the hour. I have to watch my watch more closely, but I got there at 6. I played until 7, and at 7, switch. All right. I have my records, but it was, I have an article on Miami Valley Gaming and, which I wrote in March last year, I think it was. And I went and checked some of the suggestions I had and some of the afterthoughts that I had. And I went back to Miami Valley Gaming in Ohio, and I followed my own suggestions, shall we say. I hadn't at the time played new slot machines near the door. And this all relates to history, by the way. New slot machines by the door. And this other one that I learned of that and saw for myself was widely visible on the main corridor, like it's, a statue on the end of a long hallway. It was just like visible. And that one I had some success with last March. And so I went back and, brought $200 and sat down and played it. And from starting at 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. And, I actually played until 8, but at 7, all the bonuses, the 7, 8 bonus rounds that I got, I was betting 60 cents. One of them was like $558 on a bonus round. It was just, it was called the gold. And every time I got in the bonus round and, with 7 bars, gold bars that showed up on the display, and that opened the secondary game on the other screen. Stop me if this sounds familiar. Then you get a spin that would tell you, how much, a spin on a little video's display, and you get 3 spins for how many gold bars I'd won. That would tell me, what would be the amount of every gold bar I'd get for 7 free games. All right. And, I got, what was it? $43, the top one. I have records. I need to write all this up. It ended up being, because I think, that's right. Before I played the 7 games, I also got another 7 bars, which then added another round to the dollar amount of each gold bar for the next 7 games. And it ended up being $43 per gold bar. And I got like 8 of those in the 7 games. And so it ended up being just a fantastic run. But this is only one out of like 7 or 8, bonus rounds. And then at 7:00, pretty much on the dot, no more bonus rounds for an hour. That's just statistically odd. That's when it changed. Now I did get some wins. It wasn't dropped to 0, but the bonus round stopped, so, but it was all pretty interesting to play a penny machine. I hadn't done too much. That was the technology here that is kind of changing. This was maybe 3-4-year-old, a slot machine. And it's interesting to see how the prevalence of penny machines, I consider many of them to be high limit machines. You can make a $5-6 bet on a penny machine. Why is that not a high limit? It's out on the main floor. So I was making 60-cent bets. And had a good time. Then I went over to another machine, which is brand new. Hot Quicks, I think it was called. Again, I got all this in my notes. Hot Quicks Blitz. And never played such a modern slot machine, and very new. It even said new machine up on top right by the door, a whole carousel circle of them. And I sat down and I won and I won and I won. No hand pays on a penny machine. I still had I put $100 in the gold and $100 in this one. And I ended up winning $2,830 worth of reward points in 3 hours with $200. I got as high as about $800 at one point, but I was there to push up my tier level, and it took me to the next tier. Job well done. But what a wonderful experience. Great. Let's see. Questions. You saw a Facebook post in the group that says the casino can reset the machines if it's been idle for 2 minutes. Is this the case? Then no time, good time to play. Right. So the general concept here is that with a server-based system, is that not all casinos are server-based connection to slot machines. For instance, riverboat casinos. I mean, as I've tried to explain, if you're going to wire them up to a central server, if you're going to wire up slot machines in your casino to a central server, you have to tear up the floors. You need a place for all those cables, and it's not Wi-Fi. That's not going to work. You need to have cables. That means digging stuff up. And if you're in a riverboat, guess what? There's water down there. Can't modernize it. And the one I was in at Harrah's, North Kansas City, they straight up told me, we can't. If you happen to play at a casino which has been modernized, renovated, heavily renovated since 2012, or is a new facility since 2012, it probably has a central server that remotely controls the slot machine odds, which means it can be changed when the casino wants to. Now, I'd heard a rumor myself a couple of years ago that it was 15 minutes, but that the machine had to be idle. And someone had said, it's based on Nevada gaming regulations. And I mean, Nevada gaming regulations are excellent, and Indiana and Illinois and all the different states like to look at them and say, that's probably a good idea. We should do that. Because they're so carefully scrutinized in academia and the courts. Even the world uses the Nevada gaming, adapts the Nevada gaming regulation system, their places as appropriate. And one of the things the rumor I'd heard 2 years ago was that it was 15 minutes. And I have since then looked at the gaming regulations for every state. Twice. Some up to Kentucky. I just did Kentucky. So, Alabama through Kentucky as well. So 2 or 3 times I've gone through the gaming regulations and there's no mention of it. So that's, you can trust the laws, right? So as they're written. So you look at that and it's like, there's no law. There's no law saying it's 15 minutes. That makes it a business practice. When does this happen? When do machines get changed? Now, I can totally see it being when it's idle. So for those of you, so it's a business practice, right? And then there was something on Facebook. The gentleman seemed to say that it was a conversation he was having with an employee of a casino, who shared that, they saw it being idle for 2 minutes, but it's not every time the machine is idle for 2 minutes. Okay. And having your player's card in the machine does not mean it's idle. It's got a player's card in it. So there is a small concern for those people who don't want to use a player's card if they're not actively betting and just sitting there 2 minute go to as little as 2 minutes, as much as 15 minutes go by, the casino could take that opportunity to adjust the odds, not because they know who you are, but because they have daily performance metrics, and the crowd just came in and they're adjusting things as the day goes by, and they got a special event coming up, and they have all this is planned out weeks or months in advance of what they're going to do based on this event. It's not because you're sitting there. They don't know you from anybody. And besides which, I've looked at the technologies available from slot machine manufacturers in their annual reports, and they're not real time. So they might possibly, in the best case, know that you were sitting at that slot machine like 15, 20 minutes ago, but 2 minutes? No. They're just not going to be able to do that. So if you leave your card in, it's not idle if your card's in it. Now, on the other hand, what if you're on a losing machine? Pull your card out, wait 2 minutes, put the card back in and see if it's any better. Okay, I'm going to back up a little bit on the live chat and catch up where I left off. Okay, I see the note from Max. Arrow Direct Fong, nice to see you here. Richard, Wise Virgin, are you or did you start slotting again on the regular? Yes. And since Richard happens to be in Ohio, I will tell him and the rest of you that I chose this last time to be going to Miami Valley Gaming because I had gone there before and there was still some things I wanted to try. But on the regular, I can't go every week. It's not the money. It's because I'm here for you. And I'm looking at every 2 weeks. Yeah. Every other Sunday. Now, this next one, I have a trip coming up, for Pennsylvania. And when I last went there, I wrote my article on the rivers in Pittsburgh, but I didn't go to Meadowlands, which is not too far away from there. And I'm thinking that that's the casino I'll go to because my dilemma is, am I doing this for you or am I doing this for me? Because I found a local casino where I can make money on one slot machine. Why would I ever go anywhere else? So that I might find a slot machine that I could win at when I already have one here. So I am going to continue to go to other casinos, learn from them, share that here. Every 2 weeks. But I've got 2 articles sort of pocketed. Harrah's North Kansas City, follow up to Miami Valley Gaming. And I got to write that stuff down because it's, if I can talk about it a little bit here, but you need the article. And I don't go into a casino. I don't record in a casino and I don't publish. I don't have an agreement with a casino. If I did, that's hobbyists. Honestly, there's a long-term problems with copyright infringement where my business could be shut down years from now if I focused on that. And there's enough people out there doing that for you. I will explain how to win, not show you my winning. Because you don't really know if there's edit points. Even if you can watch for edit points, and if you take out 2 hours of losing, so you can show 20 minutes of winning, how helpful is that? So my what I'm offering is unique, how to win. And if you want to watch somebody play a slot machine, there's plenty of channels for that. But I need to write articles. So 1 week, go to a casino. Next week, publish the article. Next week, every 2 weeks, go into the casino, and on the off weeks, write the article, as well as do all this. Let's see. Oh, sure. I would be happy to tell you what game I'm playing, but please understand the game doesn't matter. You can have a row of slot machines all with the same game, and one of them is set to win and one of them set to lose. it was called the Gold. I think I might have put a picture in it in my article about Miami Valley Gaming. You can go to my website and search for it. Or I can pull it up now. It's central area. There's 3 machines, and you want the one that's visible from down the long, I don't know what you want to call it. It's like a huge hallway right from the entrance. The Gold. The other one, is, and there's more detail in like who makes it and stuff. The other one was, it's a Hot Quicks. Let me, I've got this written down, in my notes. Let's see. It's a penny machine called the Gold. I played the one that was kind of facing away from the long aisle and spent like, $50. And $40 and $60 went into the second one that had its my back to the long hallway, but, the machine itself was facing the long hallway. And everybody watched me win. So yeah, the, bonus round, and then, quick hit blitz. Also a penny machine. And overall 2,830 points, for the $200 that I brought in over a 2-hour basis. Each point was worth $1. Yeah. I'll be happy to tell you which one I played. But if you ask me which, game theme, the Gold and quick hit blitz, but you need to know which of them on each of those carousels. I found all 3. I didn't get a chance to play the third one. I played 2 of the 3 on the quick hits blitz. The one that I couldn't get to was the guy who was winning hand base. And so he wasn't giving that up, which is also the right thing to do. I hope that answers the question clearly enough. I don't, people say, what's your favorite slot machine? I'm like, the one I'm winning on. I don't have I kind of like the Wheel of Fortune, but the reason why was because it was, back when I was winning my 90 jackpots in 9 days, that was the one that was facing the door entry into the high limit room, and you could see it from a distance. And that's why I was a winner. But I do have a certain fondness, but it was because it was a winner. Okay. Greener Pastures. I was at a bank of machines and we all hit free games within a couple of minutes of each other at 8 p.m. Couldn't hit anything before 8 p.m. Yeah. See, what I'm trying to offer is see if your casino does these things. Okay. Back before, it was kind of crazy to even think that it might be possible. But now that we're all talking, particularly on the slots communities on Facebook, and here, people are like, yeah, I saw that too. I thought that was just me, because so many people think it's luck, because it was luck, but not anymore. The luck's still there, but now we have business practices and casinos are able to implement them. And then we have things that we can do in response if we spot those. Let's see. Mountaineer in West Virginia stops hitting at 10 p.m. on Saturday nights. I should start writing some of this stuff down. Keep a book of tips for each state. Yeah, I don't tell, Max, I've gone over this, but, I don't usually talk about the game I'm playing because it doesn't matter. It's placement. It's casino practices. That's where you gotta think this through a different way than we've done this for a while. Somebody told me the other day that I really look at things differently, because it works. Greener Pastures. My local casino is having a special day for previous jackpot winners in 2019. It is a good idea to go. Okay. There's 2 reasons why you might want to go. One is it a good promotion that you might win at? The second one is, while I'm there, maybe I should go play slot machines. Okay. The first one, yes. Second one, no. Okay. The first one, if you read the rules and you say, I think I got a chance. you know, then go for it. That's an advantage play. If you can find one, if you can read it and look at it and understand it and say, well, of all the people who win a lot of jackpots, I win particularly more. And I've seen people go, winners go to these events, these high limit events, and just clean up because they had more entries than anybody else. Or, there's some aspect of that. And people would say, well, of course he won. I'm like, yeah, because he wins. He had more entries. That's how I won a car. I had, 275, something like that, entries to win the car. And most other people had what? 2? I had 100 more opportunities. The odds were 100x better for me. And by golly, I did it. Didn't know I had to spin the wheel though. Jeez. But it turns out I'm good at spinning wheels. Right. So, greener pastures. Yeah. I would decide, greener pastures, if they want you there at a particular time, I'm suspicious. That's why I don't like to gamble then. I have won. That they're not precisely in control of everything. I've won big jackpots during special events. But it just wasn't, wise of me to have done that, to have played. But the promotion might be something. Take a look at the rules and see if you got a chance. That's my thoughts on that. Jingwalk. Nice to meet you, Jingwalk. I haven't seen you before here. John, would you discourage players from going to the casino on the big promotion, grand prize, days? How about during the next day? Would this be better? We've kind of talked about this before. There's a business practice where, how do I put this? I've explained this before. If you're a big casino, you have requirements, whether they're internal business requirements or some states have gaming laws that say your return on your payout, your theoretical payout must be this. Your actual return statistics must show that you achieved this on average over whatever period the state gaming regulations require. So, when you have a big night at casino, we're talking a lot of money. Okay. And you could be off and the casino could be off on how much they give back. It's not easy getting it right. But there is an easy way to do it when it's this hard to do it. The casinos don't give back enough. Then they're assured that they will meet the gaming requirements because the next morning, after hours of calculation of all the things that were happening, when it was so busy at the casino 6 hours before, people working hard to capture what happened, they go, oh, we achieved our goal. We did not give back. We did not give back enough. But that's safe because let's say they did give back too much. Then they're going to have to pull, lower the odds and take money from locals for the next week when there's only a few people there until the next busy Friday night. And that's just going to cause them to be hated over that long of a period. So they don't give back enough. The next morning they balance the books by giving back a couple of jackpots. That's why you want to go the next morning, especially after a special event or holiday. That's been almost the theme of this live Q&A besides the history. But really, Jingwalk, I would encourage them to consider whether or not the promotion is a winner, if there's an advantage play, because that's possible. Yeah. And ask questions of the host about it. That's what happened to me. That's how I won a car. I listened to my host and I was like, really? That many entries? Really? Really? I'll be there. And because I had like a small chance and, which is much better. Hi, Lois and Dave. Welcome back. How was the barbecue? Jingwalk, this is, Chris from, Minnesota. Just joined, you. Okay. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate you joining. Let's see. You can always review back, a little bit, if you care to. check the comments for other things. What else? What other questions do you have? I kind of covered the history, as much as I wanted to. That was the major theme on this. I tried to, have a topic, and then we kind of go from the questions after that. And that usually gets us, a pretty fun hour. As I, go through, I have statistics. I have statistics, and I love statistics, not just for winning at slot machines, but looking at the results of the shows, average watch time, 21 minutes. This is the longest one. Concurrent viewers, 13. There was something that happened at, I peaked at 15 viewers. About 20 minutes ago. I have to go back and see what I said. That either caused them to, show up or go away. So I'm learning, how well these videos are being, live Q&As are being received. And I'm trying to improve. You will see improvement. Some of you I know have been following my podcast from the beginning. And if you listen to episode number 1, oh my goodness. So many improvements since then. And that's going to happen. I'm putting out, and I'm hoping to keep up with the schedule, but last week on Tuesday and then on Thursday, and then, the week before on Tuesday and then on Thursday, I've been putting out videos. And it's interesting to see how astonishingly well one is doing and how poorly another is doing. And I'm learning a lot more about what you guys want from me. So if you have suggestions on what you care to have, please do, let me know. We're getting in the last few minutes here, and I do wish, to be successful, on my end, if you could please subscribe to the channel, that would be awesome. It isn't, really necessary past a certain point. I need to get to 1,000 email subscribers, so that I can start activating some of the features in YouTube that will allow me to help you more. And help me a little. So I'm hoping to get to 1,000. I also need, watch time, but that's really my responsibility to make better and better videos so I can build up watch time. So if you could subscribe, that would be awesome. Thanks, Chris. Let's see. Another one from Chris. Got a lot of questions, but joined your chat too late. In the hour, we'll perhaps catch up with questions at a later chat. Yeah, that would be good. A lot of people are asking for, answers to questions. And if the questions can be, similar for people. And this is a great opportunity during a Q&A to answer one question for many people. So, there is no bad question. So ask. Yes, this live stream can be replayed. In fact, you can do it right now if you care to, but I'm still talking. This will be available, for about a month, maybe 2, before I take it down. But then it's also going to be, permanently in my YouTube episode as one part of the one I'm going to release tomorrow night at 7. Yes. The link is live, but there's reasons to not make it live. I figure I'll keep it live for about a month. The reason why I'm, being careful here is I'm giving away the whole show. Okay. I am, Catherine says good info. I am telling you the answers. Okay. And if I leave this up for more than a month, people will go back to that and not say, buy the book or, do something else that I might get paid for. So, I am sharing everything that I know. But you have to come and see. You get what you get. And, I try to do a good job at this. But just leaving it up here for people, question whether that's a good business practice. Talk about business practices. I wouldn't want people to take advantage of my business practices, not when, I'm trying to guide things a little bit. And this year is going to be year of monetization. But I'm only going to be trying to do things that help you, and avoid shooting myself in the foot. So, Yes, next time will be again next Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern time. This remains available to be viewed, and not taking it down immediately, and we'll see how things go. We got more videos that I want to bring out on Tuesday and Thursday, but I'm going to go run do that, get that together and try to get in. What's been great about this year so far is the constant rhythm. I think people know when to show up, and that works well. So I don't mean to go on about the business. We talk about the business practices of casinos and taking advantage, but I also perhaps too often talk about the business practices of myself and how I am trying to grow and respond to the needs of you guys. Thank you, Greener Pastures. I'm getting some positive responses. But it was, as I was saying a moment ago, you should have seen my first few podcast episodes. Oh my goodness. I will continue to improve because I know I will. That's who I am. That's what I do is, improve and improve and improve and improve and improve. So you will see small adjustments and hopefully no missteps, in the coming months and years. Be interesting once, get over 1,000 email subscribers. Some features open up on YouTube, and then at 10,000 more open up. And as the crowds increase, like for instance, apparently, and I wanted to do this while I was live to indulge me for a moment. Apparently there is a way to kick somebody off. And because I am told that, I don't know how to do that, because we had one guy tumble in at one point, tumble in a couple of weeks ago and like, so what's going on here? And I was just like, yeah, I've had random people walk into my classroom before and go, take a nap or something. How weird was that? Want to be able to understand the controls here, but I'm getting better, as you noticed, started on time and, more confidence in the technology. Awesome. You guys have a great day. I will, talk to you later. Have fun. Be safe. Make good choices. Bye. Remember to visit ProfessorSlots.com/subscribe to get my free report revealing the top 7 online resources for improving your gambling performance, including the one I've used as a top-tier slot machine casino gambler. Up next is the second segment of the show on slot machine casino gambling. Here I provide a brief overview of the current state of gambling in 2 U.S. states, territories, or the federal district, emphasizing by far anything of interest to slot machine casino gamblers. Up next is Idaho slot machine casino gambling in 2019. Here goes. Idaho slot machine casino gambling consists of 7 tribal casinos ranging from resorts to truck stops. No theoretical payout limits or return statistics are available. The minimum legal gambling age in Idaho depends upon the gambling activity. For land-based casinos, bingo, the lottery, and pari-mutuel wagering, it's 18. For poker rooms, it's not available. The state originally adopted criminal and constitutional prohibitions against Class 3 gaming except pari-mutuel betting and a state lottery. After a challenge from the tribes, ultimately the state amended its constitution to allow these Vegas-style gaming machines. The maximum bet in Idaho is $50. Next up is the usually short statement about slot machine private ownership, which I have included in case you live in this U.S. state and are considering owning a slot machine. Here it is. In Idaho, it is legal to own a slot machine privately if manufactured before 1950. Idaho does not have a state gaming commission. Instead, it has state tribal compacts with Idaho's 4 federally recognized American Indian tribes. These negotiated compacts determine Idaho's gaming regulations along with its enforcement. In this section, I'll discuss Idaho's gambling establishments. There are 7 American Indian tribal casinos in Idaho. The largest casino in Idaho is Coeur d'Alene Casino Resort Hotel in Worley, with 1,600 gaming machines and 6 table games. The second largest casino is Clearwater River Casino and Lodge in Lewiston, with 601 gaming machines. There are no non-tribal casinos in Idaho, although until 2014, the state had offered pari-mutuel wagering at horse racetracks. There are 7 tribal casinos in Idaho. As usual, when there are too many casinos to mention here, a complete list along with links to the websites, assuming they've set one up, is available on my website blog article for this state at ProfessorSlots.com/ID. As an alternative to enjoying Idaho slot machine casino gambling, consider exploring casino options in a nearby state. Bordering Idaho is to the north, British Columbia, a province of Canada. To the east, Montana and Wyoming. To the south, Nevada and Utah. And to the west, Oregon and Washington. To visit any of my articles on these U.S. states, simply visit ProfessorSlots.com followed by its 2-letter postal designation. For example, my Montana slots article is available at ProfessorSlots.com/MT. Are you interested in sharing and learning with other slots enthusiasts in Idaho? If so, join our Idaho Slots community on Facebook at ProfessorSlots.com/FBID. All you'll need is a Facebook profile to join this private Facebook group freely. There, you'll be able to privately share your slots experiences as well as chat with players about slots gambling in or near Idaho. Again, use this convenient link I've created to go directly to our group on Facebook, ProfessorSlots.com/FBID. Join us. Idaho's tribal state compacts do not require a minimum theoretical payout return percentage. Further, these negotiated compacts don't require the tribes report return statistics to the state. In summary, Idaho slot machine casino gambling consists of 7 tribal casinos offering video slot machines, electronic pull tabs, and competition-style bingo machines. Some casinos also offer electronic forms of poker, keno, roulette, and blackjack. Existing state tribal compacts do not require a minimum payout return when gambling. Further, no actual return statistics are made available to the public. In the last year, the Shoshone-Bannock Hotel and Event Center has become the Shoshone-Bannock Casino Hotel. While still an event center, it has rebranded by associating itself with 2 casinos owned and operated by the same tribe. These 2 tribal casinos include Sage Hill Casino in Blackfoot, located 9 miles to the north, and Bannock Peak Casino in Pocatello, located 18 miles to the southwest. Remember to visit ProfessorSlots.com/subscribe to get my free report revealing the top 7 online resources for improving your gambling performance, including the one I've used as a top-tier slot machine casino gambler. Up next is the second state comprising this episode segment, Illinois slot machine casino gambling in 2019. Here goes. Illinois slot machine casino gambling consists of 10 riverboat casinos, the second U.S. state to offer them, as well as video gaming terminals, VLTs, in small businesses approved by local governments. Illinois' riverboat casinos have both minimum and maximum theoretical payout limits and monthly return statistics publicly available. The minimum legal gambling age in Illinois depends upon the gambling activity. For casinos and poker rooms, it's 21. For bingo, the lottery, and pari-mutuel wagering at racetracks, it's 18. The Illinois Riverboat Gambling Act, enacted in February 1990, legalized riverboat gambling on open water outside of Cook County. This restriction protected wagering on horse racing in the Chicago area, approved in 1927. Since 1990, Illinois has offered only 10 gaming licenses for riverboat casinos. Originally, riverboat casinos in Illinois had to cruise, but a new state law in 1999 allowed permanent docking. Each riverboat is legally authorized to have up to a total of 1,200 gaming machines, including positions available at table games. The Illinois Gaming Board assumes each craps table offers 10 positions, while all other table games and keno offer only 5 gaming positions. In 2005, the Illinois State Legislature established an admissions tax of $2 or $3. Admission is $2 at Jumer's Casino Rock Island and $3 at all the other riverboat casinos. Illinois riverboat casinos also have restricted hours of operation, closing for 2 hours each day, usually around 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. In 2009, the Illinois State Legislature passed the Video Gaming Act, allowing video gaming terminals in, quote, licensed retail establishments, truck stops, veteran and fraternal establishments, end quote. The act also offered local municipalities the ability to opt out of hosting these video gaming terminal locations. Nevertheless, it took until 2012 for the Illinois Gaming Board to provide mass approvals for these video gaming licenses to many license applicants. The Illinois Gaming Board hosts a website with extensive and thoroughly detailed descriptions of its state gaming laws for casino gambling and video gaming. Regarding slot machine private ownership, it is legal to own a slot machine privately in Illinois if manufactured 25 or more years ago. The Illinois Gaming Board provides gaming regulations and tax collection for slot machine gambling activities in Illinois. It also has gaming control commissions for other forms of gambling, including the Illinois Lottery and the Illinois Racing Board. Further, the Illinois Casino Gaming Association, ICGA, represents 9 of the 10 riverboat casinos. The ICGA provides statistics on charitable giving by the riverboat casinos, as well as supporting responsible gambling. There are 10 riverboat casinos in Illinois. The largest casino in Illinois is Hollywood Casino Joliet with 1,177 gaming machines, 20 table games, and 5 poker tables. The second largest casino is Paradise Hotel Casino with 1,172 gaming machines, 21 table games, and 5 poker tables. There are 10 riverboat casinos in Illinois. As usual, when there are too many casinos to mention here, a complete list along with links to the websites, assuming they've set one up, is available on my website blog article for this state at professorslots.com/il. In November 2019, 7,149 retail locations in Illinois offered video lottery terminals. In total, there are 33,019 active VLT gaming machines. Given riverboat casinos have as much as 1,200 slot machines each, VLTs at local businesses equate to nearly 30 casinos of a similar size. Illinois has no federally recognized American Indian tribes. Therefore, Illinois has no tribal casinos. As an alternative to enjoying Illinois slot machine casino gambling, consider exploring casino options in a nearby state. Bordering Illinois is to the north, Wisconsin, to the east, Indiana, to the southeast, Kentucky, and to the west, Iowa and Missouri. To visit any of my articles on these U.S. states, simply visit professorslots.com followed by its 2-letter postal designation. For example, my Wisconsin slots article is available at professorslots.com/WI. Illinois has established payout limits of 80% and 100% over the lifetime of a slot machine. Further, the Illinois Gaming Board provides monthly return statistics for casino gaming as well as for video gaming. The latest report on return statistics released for the month of October includes 2 numbers used to calculate the player win percent of the 10 riverboat casinos of Illinois. Obtain player win percents from the report by subtracting the entry for electronic gaming device adjusted gross return percentage, EGD, AGR percent, from 100%. In the month of October 2019, the statewide player win percent was 90.91%. The highest payout return was Harrah's Joliet at 92.24%, while the lowest was Harrah's Metropolis at 89.17%. For VLTs, the statewide player win percentage was 91.7%. Detailed monthly reports at Video Gaming Revenue Reports offer the player win percentage at each of the more than 7,000 retail businesses with VLTs. To determine the win percentage for where you play VLTs, divide amount won by amount played in the VGT wagering activity section. Illinois slot machine casino gambling consists of 10 riverboat casinos and VLT electronic gaming machines at 7,149 local businesses, such as bars, restaurants, and other licensed non-casino locations. Minimum and maximum legal limits for the slot machines are 80% and 100% respectively over the lifetime of the game. Further, monthly return statistics are publicly available. In November 2019, there were 7,149 VLT locations with a total of 33,019 VLTs, a 12.4% increase in locations and a 16.7% increase in terminals from the previous year. Annual income tax revenue from gaming increased by nearly 17%. This tax income increase included a share of $83 million for local municipalities which offer video gaming. Up to 6 new casinos may come to the Chicago area, including a Hard Rock Casino in the city of Rockford. Submitted casino proposals arrived at the Illinois Gaming Board in October 2019. Further, in November 2019, the Illinois Gaming Board approved Rivers Casino to no longer be a riverboat casino. Instead, it has become a land-based casino with unlimited slots and table games. Other Illinois riverboat casinos will also become land-based casinos as part of a planned massive gambling expansion. Remember to visit professorslots.com/subscribe to get my free report revealing the top 7 online resources for improving your gambling performance, including the one I've used as a top-tier slot machine casino gambler. Part 1 of the next episode of the Professor Slots podcast most likely will be a live Q&A session on YouTube, although I still plan to offer episodes which don't include content from my live question and answer sessions. Remember, my weekly Q&A session on YouTube is on Saturdays from 2 p.m. until 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Bring whatever slots questions you have, and I'll do my best to answer them. An easy-to-remember link to my YouTube channel is professorslots.com/live. Feel free to stop by anytime during my hour-long Q&A. To suggest a topic or ask a question which might end up as a blog article or on a podcast episode, email it to john@professorslots.com, where John is spelled Jon. Part 2 of the next episode of the Professor Slots podcast is another brief overview of the current state of gambling in 2 U.S. states, territories, or the federal district. Next time, I'll be talking to you about the great U.S. states of Indiana and Iowa. That's the end of another great episode of the Professor Slots podcast. Thanks so much for listening. Show notes for this episode are now available within most podcast apps, but are also available on my website at professorslots.com/episode 75. I plan to have the next episode come out very soon for you, where I'll have more amazing content for the show. Until the next episode, have fun, be safe, and make good choices. Bye.